G'day, I'm Stephen Page from Page, Provan Family and Fertility Lawyers, and I want to tell you something of which I'm very proud and that's upcoming. If you're really keen on surrogacy, if this is something that you think about all the time because you're parents through surrogacy, or you're donors, or in fact you're a child through surrogacy, or you're a professional who has something to do with surrogacy, for example, you happen to be a lawyer like me, or you're an embryologist or a fertility specialist or an academic, etc., then be aware that coming up in March is the third International Surrogacy Forum, and this will be held in Cape Town. The dates at this stage are the 24th and 25th of March 2025. Now they may bounce around, and the current expectation is for private practitioners, someone like me, to attend is $750 US. There'll be different rates for academics and students. But this will be the third opportunity where surrogacy in all its aspects will be discussed with experts worldwide. The first occasion was in Cambridge in 2019, and the forum was the brainchild of a late English-Irish colleague, Anne-Marie Hutchinson, and myself. And it came about because looking back into the prehistory, in 2011 I was asked to be in charge of a project for the American Bar Association about a proposed Hague Surrogacy Convention. So Bruce Hale and I and others wrote this policy, and it took us about 5 years to do it. And then by 2016, the Hague Conference on Private International Law, which had since 2011 been looking at an international convention, got a bunch of experts together to talk about what should happen. And by 2018, United Nations Special Rapporteur on the sale and sexual abuse of children looked at the American Bar policy that I'd been the principal advocate and co-author of, and said, oh, well, you know, that actually involves the exploitation of children. And somehow she came up with this bizarre notion that if pre-birth orders were made with surrogacy, and just so we're clear, they're made commonly across the United States. Preconception orders by statute are made in Israel and in Greece and in South Africa. Then that involved the sale of a child, and if there was a binding contract for surrogacy, and so we see that, for example, in the United States and Canada, and obviously other countries, but those two countries, then that involved the sale of a child. And if we pay a surrogate, if a surrogate is paid anything more than her reasonable expenses, that also involves the sale of a child. Now, these were just outrageous propositions in my view, because what that meant in her worldview was, in effect, that judges in the United States and Canada, South Africa, Greece, etc., who were complicit in the sale of children. It was just, I thought it was just off the wall nuts. And I thought there needed to be an intellectual response to it, and trying to move the American Bar Association, I don't know how fit you are, but it's like me trying to push an A380. I just couldn't achieve it. So I complained to my dear friend, and from there the idea of this conference came about, and we had an organising committee. I was on that, as was she, and the first outing of this was at Cambridge in 2019. Ironically, I couldn't be there because it was just before my daughter was going to be born through surrogacy and egg donation in Australia. And what happened? Well, there was research about what are the outcomes for children through surrogacy, what are the different regulatory responses to surrogacy, from none at all to complete prohibition, and what did the future tell us? The good news is that the UN Special Rapporteur went to the conference, and she was persuaded that it wasn't a good idea to have a UN convention to ban surrogacy altogether, and instead said, well, the Hague Conference on Private International Law should be focused on its model and moving forward with a convention. Since then, the second conference, the second International Surrogacy Conference was held, and that was held last year in Copenhagen, and it was a wild success. I was delighted that this time I could go as compared to 2019. So the third outing will be in Cape Town, as I said, and again, the dates 24 to 25 March 2025. And they will be, those dates have been chosen, so they will be immediately before the amazing and wonderful South African Family Law Conference, which will be held on 27-28 March 2025. I go to that conference, I speak at that conference pretty well every year, and I've gone every second year. When I haven't gone, it's typically I speak remotely, but I've gone there since 2016. It is an extraordinary conference and one of my favourites, with family lawyers from all over Africa, not just South Africa, giving an amazing variety of how the world looks at things, as well as other internationals such as myself. So anyway, I hope you can come to the International Surrogacy Forum. I'm very proud of, excuse the pun, my little baby, and I'm looking forward to meeting others there. Thank you. Stephen Page, Page Proven Family and Fertility Lawyers.